Rosemary Christensen disappeared on August 26, 1999. When a person disappears without a trace, often the most critical information is hidden in their actions and words from the days before they vanished. Rosemary Christensen's last known whereabouts may hold the clues to what happened to her. Australian Rosemary Christensen is outgoing and friendly. She likes to socialize.
With no phone calls, nobody answering the home phone, there was something very wrong.
The thing that stands out was my pleading with her to please come stay with me, be safe.
But when she goes missing, it is her husband who pleads for help.
Please, if anybody's seen Rose, know where she's at, please.
I didn't believe any of it for a minute. I knew he had done something to Rosemary and it wasn't going to be good.
As nearly 10 years pass, the case goes cold until...
I felt that someday my phone would ring, and I thought at that point in time I would be able to come forward.
This is the mystery of how Rosemary Christensen disappeared. Year-old Rosemary Christensen is a well-respected realtor near Clearwater, Florida.
She was the friendliest, nicest, sweetest person ever.
She cared a lot about people, and in turn, people cared a lot about her.
The day Rosemary went missing starts just like any other. Rosemary is on her way to work at a local real estate firm for the daily meeting.
It's always the same. We do our pump-up, rah-rah sessions and then listen about new listings and just a normal day.
As her day progresses, Rosemary gets some great news. One of her properties has sold, and she's elated.
She'd worked hard on this contract, and it came through. And, you know, once something like that happens, she would just get overjoyed over it.
Moments like this are the reason Rosemary loves the real estate business. And the business loves her.
She was excellent. She knew what her job was and did it very, very well.
She was very dedicated, very hardworking. I mean, she took things so seriously. In fact, she had won several awards and everything, and she'd only been in it for a couple of years.
Rosemary began her realty career in 1997, shortly after moving to the United States from Holland. In Holland, she was the wife of a diplomat, a role she relished that took her all over the world. Rosemary's Australian accent, cordiality, and worldliness help her connect with practically everyone she meets.
I met Rosemary at an open house. I'd done real estate for a long time, and she's just starting. And then we also got into her background, which was diplomatic. I had a diplomatic background as well. And we instantly hit it off.
Before moving to America, Rosemary also hits it off with someone she meets on the internet. A 47-year-old man from Illinois named Robert G. Temple.
We were just friends at first and it evolved into phone calls. She told me about she was married to a diplomat and, you know, and naturally I didn't believe her when she had told me and all the people that she had met and presidents that she had been to dinners with. You know, I thought it was internet chat, so I think I might have been a secret agent or who knows, you know how people exaggerate.
He had told her that he was with the FBI, that he had several homes in several places, and somehow or another he convinced her to come over to the United States to meet him in person.
Rosemary separates from her husband and flies to Chicago to meet Temple, who's surprised to learn she's been truthful about herself from day one.
When she did come to see me,
I knew she was telling the truth, and I had already told her, and I felt so ashamed, that, I'm just a farm boy from Illinois.
Rosemary gets divorced, and after a 6-month courtship, Rosemary and Robert get married and settle in the quiet community of Bel Air, Florida. In this condo, which Rosemary pays for, Rosemary's friends don't really understand the attraction.
When I first met Robert Temple, I had no idea what Rosemary was doing with him.
We're still trying to figure that one out.
Whatever her friends think, Rosemary and Robert do seem to enjoy a true, loving bond.
Sometimes opposites attract, which they do in many relationships. Whatever goes on behind closed doors is something we're not ever privy to, but they must have had something to be together.
Thursday, August 26, 1999, back at work, Rosemary continues to celebrate the property she sold. While she runs through the office parking lot to tell coworkers the good news, she trips and falls onto her knee.
I believe her heel got caught in the asphalt and she skinned her knee. And there's a little scratch.
And she had ripped her hose, so we Band-Aided it up because it hadn't run yet or anything. So she was okay, but she was like so upset about her hose having a hole in it now because she had an appointment.
Meeting with clients is the part of the job Rosemary enjoys the most.
She would take people out to dinner and to lunch and show them where to go.
When she was with clients, they warmed up to her instantly, and we never felt anything but comfortable with her going out with the clients.
But her husband, Robert, worries about the kind of people Rosemary may meet.
That was the only time I ever worried about her was at night. I shouldn't say this, but sometimes I would go ahead and follow her.
At 2 p.m., just 5 hours before her disappearance, Rosemary has an appointment with clients.
I know she was showing property to a couple that she met up in Bel Air Beach.
Rosemary meets her clients at the Bel Air Beach Resort Motel. Next, she takes them to view a number of properties. At one home, Rosemary gets a call on her cell phone around 3:30.
Robert had been calling her.
I called and she said, I'm probably going to be late because I've got about 20 places I can show her if she wants to see them all. We'll just go with whatever she wants to do. But I'll call you before I come home.
A half hour later, Rosemary's phone rings again. This time, Rosemary is annoyed and excuses herself.
Nothing worse than when you're trying to show somebody a house and you're getting interrupted and you lose your train of thought.
At around 5:30 that afternoon, Rosemary apologizes for the interruption and wraps up the appointment. Then she schedules another appointment for 11 a.m. the next day. Rosemary says goodbye to her client and then heads home. This is the last time Rosemary Christensen is seen. The next day, Rosemary's client shows up at the realty office looking for Rosemary. It's unusual that Rosemary didn't call in, but coworker Kathy assumes Rosemary's absence is likely connected to problems she's having with Robert.
The first thing I did think was, okay, they had a falling out, and here she's not coming in. But I just kind of let it go.
Most of the day goes by, and still, no call from Rosemary. Her coworkers are prepping for a company beach party the next day, and Rosemary fails to help as planned.
She was supposed to be making a potato salad for this party, and she didn't have a bowl big enough, so she had asked one of the associates if she could borrow a big bowl. So they put this bowl out and had it sitting out there waiting for her on Friday to pick up, and she never came. And I said, well, she still got Saturday. I mean, it doesn't take long to make potato salad.
But deep down, Kathy thinks Rosemary might be avoiding her coworkers. because Kathy's come to know a secret detail of Rosemary's home life. It's Friday, August 27th, 1999. Florida realtor Rosemary Christensen hasn't been seen since the night before. Her coworker Kathy McKinnon thinks it might be because Rosemary and her husband, Robert Temple, had an argument. In fact, Kathy worries that Rosemary may be hiding from sight. She can't forget something Rosemary told her just a month earlier.
She wanted me to know that she's having problems with Robert and that they'd had major domestic fights. And the reasoning why she was not in the office, she'd be gone for a couple days, is because she was too embarrassed that a bruise would show.
I hate the fact that people think that I could ever hurt Rosemary. You know, I never hurt Rose, threatened her or anything.
On Saturday, August 28th, Kathy hopes Rosemary will come out of hiding to attend the company beach party. Rosemary and Robert went to the party the year before, but this year, they're both a no-show.
See, she never came, and I had been calling her, and she's with no response.
Rosemary's boss then pages her multiple times.
And the more pages went by without a response, the more elevated the concern became.
After that, the party was over, still no Rosemary. I just figured that she and Robert had a fight and that she was at home trying to make the wounds go away so no one would see it.
The next morning, Kathy and a coworker are worried about Rosemary. They head over to her condominium to check up on her. But Kathy knows that in order to get to Rosemary, she might have to confront Robert.
Robert never really liked me.
As Kathy and a male coworker arrive at the condominium complex to look for Rosemary, they notice Robert's motorcycle and Rosemary's car are still sitting in their parking lot. The vehicles make Kathy wonder why her phone calls have gone unanswered if both Rosemary and Robert are still at home.
I knew something was really wrong then.
Kathy wanders around the back of the complex toward Rosemary's condo, Unit 148.
And all the windows were closed, all the drapes were pulled. It was just dark. I mean, there was nobody, you couldn't see in. And that's when we called the Bel Air police.
Soon the police arrive. A locksmith opens the condo, and an officer enters the home. After the police search the home, they contact Rosemary's best friend, Laurel.
I got a phone call that they were at her condo. Then he proceeded to tell me that the carpet was missing. At that point, I started crying because I had been at her house just recently. The carpet was new, it was beautiful, the walls were freshly painted.
Rosemary had just remodeled her condo, and my carpet guy helped. And I knew something was really, really wrong at that moment.
Desperate for answers, Kathy calls Robert Temple's family in Decatur, Illinois, and speaks to a woman who answers the phone.
I just asked if she had seen Robert, and she said that Robert was up there in Illinois. And I said, well, is Rosemary with him? And she said no. And I said, well, we can't seem to find Rosemary. And she asked me if I had looked in the trunk of Rosemary's car for her. I asked her why would she say something like that, and she goes, well, you know they've been having problems.
What was allegedly said intensifies Kathy's suspicions about Robert. She's somewhat surprised when moments later, Robert calls her back.
I said, Robert, where's Rosemary? And then he started getting all upset and said, did she leave me, Kathy? Did she leave me? I said, I don't know, Robert. All I want to know is where is she? Do you know where she is? And that's when he says that she went off with some people Thursday night and he left town. I told him he was lying. I said, Robert, don't be telling me this kind of crap. He just says, I know you're not going to believe it, but it doesn't matter. That's exactly what the point is.
Kathy goes straight to the police and files a missing persons report. The rest of Rosemary's co-workers fan out around the community, looking for signs of their missing friend.
Anybody sees her or anything, that number.
Okay.
Groups went around driving the different neighborhoods to see if there's any signs of Rosemary at all. We did not come up with anything.
Beggins is so worried, he hires a private investigator who specializes in missing persons cases, Dick Price.
He said he was very, very concerned about it, as much as all the girls were, and that's how I really got into it, and that's where it started that day.
As the search for Rosemary ramps up, Pinellas County Sheriff's detectives take over the investigation and attempt to locate Temple.
They learned rather quickly that he was in Illinois visiting relatives, I believe, and he had planned that trip, he said, beforehand, and it was a point of some dispute with his wife, some argument, some disagreement, he later explained.
They learn Rosemary's husband isn't only with his relatives, he's with another woman.
His traveling companion was a 22-year-old woman by the name of Leslie Stewart. Obviously, that raises everybody's suspicion to some degree. At the time, the suggestion, of course, between the lines was that this was not a perfect marriage if there was a girlfriend involved.
Robert met Leslie Stewart while both worked as customer service agents at a phone sex and psychic hotline.
Probably within a couple of weeks after I met her, we were having sex every day, either in the back parking lot at work, in her car, or in the bathroom at work.
Back in Florida, detectives officially search the condo. They find a collection of used cleaning products and painting supplies, items that were purchased the morning after Rosemary's disappearance at a nearby Walmart by Robert Temple using Rosemary's credit card.
I was able to obtain the receipt from Walmart. It was Clorox, it was Febreze, and scrub brushes, a knife, duct tape, anything that could be used to either clean evidence up or erase a crime scene.
But there's one item listed on the receipt that leaves private investigator Dick Price perplexed: a tote with wheel. Price obtained one to try to figure out why Temple would have purchased it and why it is the only item police couldn't locate.
My thoughts were that this is just a perfect piece of equipment that could get rid of, number one, all of the carpet real easy, and also to be able to dispose of a body.
At the time, detectives report that Rosemary's husband, Robert Temple, is cooperating and has agreed to return to Florida for further questioning.
We've said before that he is not a suspect. He has the understanding we'd like to speak to him.
Authorities don't name Temple a suspect because solid evidence linking him to Rosemary's disappearance hasn't been discovered. Also, it seems possible Temple really doesn't know what happened to his wife. Temple left messages for her on their home answering machine, and he even left her a note.
Dear Rose, I was hoping to see you before I left, but I decided to go ahead and go today instead of waiting until tomorrow. Tried phoning and beeping you, but guess you were out of range. Wish you could have gone with me, but maybe next time. Take care, and I'll be back on Tuesday. I love you, lady, Rob. And then in the bottom of the note, he said, also, the tile guy said he could do it next week once we got all the painting done. Promise me you'll like this shade of white this time. Ha ha. Rosemary and I had recently been at her home, and she had never mentioned to me anything about getting tile. The whole note was bogus, designed to put the sheriff's off into a missing persons search.
I didn't believe any of it for a minute. I knew he had done something to Rosemary, and it wasn't going to be good.
Why are Rosemary's friends so convinced Robert has done something terrible to his wife? When Robert Temple's criminal records surface, revealing a violent past, their concerns only escalate. On September 26, 1999, Tampa Bay area realtor Rosemary Christensen disappears.
This was a big deal. It was a big deal because Rosemary Christensen was a well-liked, if not loved, realtor who had a lot of friends and coworkers who cared a great deal about her.
Police hope her husband, Robert G. Temple, can help them locate Rosemary. But her best friends think something horrible has happened. Their suspicions stem from incidents of alleged verbal and physical abuse involving her husband.
When Rosemary and I first started talking about the abuse, it was mainly the verbal that was bothering her. Robert would say stuff about her weight, just hurtful things. I think as the relationship got strained, it escalated.
She told me about one incident in a townhouse they lived at and that he had hit her.
The incident occurred on the night of July 14th, 1997, in Clearwater, Florida. According to police records and these photographs, Rosemary sustained injuries to her cheek and eye. But her husband Robert claims it was all an accident.
Rose was up, opening the door, right as I tripped over a box and hit the door and knocked her back, and I'm still falling forward in the door. It cut her eye right here. It split her eye. I mean, it was bleeding like there's no tomorrow.
Temple was arrested for domestic battery, but Rosemary asked for the charges to be dropped, and Temple pleaded no contest to disorderly conduct. Despite the incident, Rosemary and Robert marry 3 weeks later.
Robert continued to tell her, "I'll change. I'm sorry. I won't do it again."
Abuser's first defense is to say, oh, it was an accident. And in some ways, it was a plausible excuse, except when you add up all these things together, it just didn't look good.
As the Pinellas County Sheriff's Office continues to wait for Temple's return from Illinois, his record of criminal offenses surfaces in the local media. In 1996, just over a year before marrying Rosemary, Temple pleaded guilty to domestic battery of his previous wife in Decatur, Illinois. He claims the incident was an unfortunate misunderstanding.
My wife and I were kind of drunk, and we were on the front porch. I started to go off, and I grabbed her, and we both went off into the bushes. Her mom saw that, called the police on me.
That wasn't Temple's only brush with the law. He served about 5 years in prison back in 1975 for involuntary manslaughter in the violent death of a girlfriend's 18-month-old child. Temple says someone else killed the child, but he took the rap.
He clearly had a violent past.
We're starting to see a lot of the past issues, especially with the husband before, that we really didn't know anything about, and there's a lot of concern.
Jeff and I both looked at each other, and at that moment, we knew she was gone.
1 week after Rosemary's disappearance, and the morning after her 44th birthday, her husband Robert finally returns for questioning. He later joins the detectives at the condo. The local press is also on the scene.
And at our request, they agreed to ask him to come out and talk to us in the pool area of the condominium. So as he walked up to us, I believe every one of us had a whole lot of questions we wanted to ask him.
Tell us when you first found out, how it all started from the beginning.
They called me in Illinois and told me that I needed to call Rose's, where Rose worked, because they said she was missing.
It was clear that he was presenting himself as a man who was in great anguish over the fate of his wife.
Rose and I haven't been apart this long since we've been married. And I miss her so bad. I just want her back.
Please, if anybody's seen Rose, know where she's at, please. Just tell her, just call, just please let us know.
When Rosemary's best friend Laurel sees the interview, she's immediately dubious.
His hands were trembling and he was crying, but there were no tears.
I didn't believe that would really happen.
I don't think I've ever seen anyone try to work up a tear as hard as he did that day and fail to do so.
Not buying the emotion, Douglas asks Temple some tougher questions.
Sir, pardon the directness of my question, but have detectives asked you whether you killed your wife?
Yes.
And what did you tell them?
I told him no. I could never hurt Rose. I'd rather be dead than anything ever happened to her.
As the interview continues, Temple reveals he last saw his wife the night of her disappearance at around 7 o'clock, an hour and a half after she left her client that day. He says she left home to meet some people he didn't know, but that he didn't expect her to return that evening. Why? Away from the cameras, he drops a bombshell.
They lived an alternative lifestyle, he said. They were swingers.
To reporters, it seems plausible, but Rosemary's closest friends dispute the swinger story.
Rosemary would have never gotten involved in anything shady or along that line, much less swinging.
She was not a swinger. She was not that type of person.
You know, there's always two sides to every story, but it certainly seems complete polar opposite of the Rosemary that I knew. But from what I saw, it didn't seem to jive.
Reporter Mark Douglas investigated the story, but cannot substantiate Temple's claims.
I don't think anyone, especially not myself, ever found any evidence to prove that. On the other hand, I believe there was a lot of evidence that Mr. Temple and his girlfriend at the time, Leslie Stewart, lived that lifestyle.
Meanwhile, detectives have reportedly found blood traces on a piece of carpet from the condo. Surprisingly, Temple acknowledges the blood was most likely Rosemary's.
He said that his wife accidentally cut herself and he cut the square out of the carpet because he couldn't get the blood out of it.
Temple says Rosemary's injury came from a fall onto her knee at work, exactly 1 week earlier.
It wasn't a scratch. Rosemary fell down a couple of times. That's how bad she hurt her leg, because it had really bled. But she said what hurt her worse was her colleagues walking past her and nobody offering to help her.
Rosemary's boss, Jeff Beggins, doesn't remember it that way.
I actually bandaged it up with a Band-Aid, and it was a minor scrape, if anything.
Kathy McKinnon remembers another detail from that day, which she subsequently tells police.
After she had fallen and we had gotten everything fixed and stuff, she was outside smoking a cigarette, and she came right up to me. She said, "Kathy, do you think that Robert is plotting to kill me?"
It's an ominous statement, but still does not tie Robert Temple to Rosemary's disappearance.
If you talk to any other Rose's colleagues, Rose did not share her personal life. Trust me, I would have known that. I do not believe that she just walked up out of the clear blue and said that to this woman. That, I believe, is a falsehood and a lie.
After the press conference, Temple goes on with his day. Although the Pinellas County sheriffs still don't name him a suspect, the local press doggedly pursues him and his girlfriend, Leslie Stewart. After days of media scrutiny, he and Stewart meet with an attorney for help dealing with the press, but the lawyer advises the couple to retain separate counsel. And Leslie is referred to defense attorney J. Hebert. What Hebert is about to learn might just be the big break investigators have been hoping for, but he won't be able to reveal anything for 9 long years. Get more Disappeared online at investigationdiscovery.com. It's been almost 1 full week since Tampa Bay realtor Rosemary Christensen was last seen. Police have searched her home and questioned her husband, Robert Temple, but they have no suspects or evidence to solve her disappearance. The local press shadows the husband and his girlfriend, Leslie Stewart. But eventually, the couple tires of the attention and seeks legal representation to handle the media. Leslie Stewart meets with local attorney J.A. Baer.
For at the time, we engaged in an attorney-client conversation, and we listened to everything she had to say, and we did everything we could to represent her the best we could at the time.
What Stewart discusses with Hebert remains confidential, and after their meeting, Hebert never expects to hear from Stewart again. "10 days after Rosemary's disappearance, leads are scarce. To keep the case alive, Rosemary's boss, Jeff Beggins, offers a reward for Rosemary's safe return.
We're taking that into our own hands, making sure that we're doing everything that we can because she's one of our own, and we're not going to rest until she's found.
We put up a $10,000 cash reward. Dollar bills, loose lips, a lot quicker than going in with a gold badge and asking questions and interviews.
After volunteers distribute flyers throughout the area, people come forward and offer private investigator Dick Price some new information.
In probably 1 week, maybe 10 days, I received about 13 to 15 phone calls. There were some people that, boy, they would have liked to have collected that $10,000, but they didn't know enough to put the nail in the coffin.
Over 1 month passes. Rosemary is still missing, without a trace. Her husband rents a moving van and packs up all of their belongings.
I had the condo under surveillance when I came across Robert with a large Penske moving truck. I sat and observed and saw Robert bringing out items and loading the van up.
Temple leaves town with Leslie Stewart.
They got away scot-free. They absolutely had no problems packing up Rosemary's belongings, getting out of town.
Because authorities don't have strong enough evidence, they cannot detain either Temple or Stewart.
When he left, there really wasn't much more to say about this, and the story more or less died down.
Months go by. Fewer and fewer leads materialize. Then, one last ray of hope comes a year and a half later, on May 1st, 2001. A psychic calls and leads police to a local pond. Divers search the water, but they come up empty. Meanwhile, Temple and Stewart travel around the country. They finally settle over 3,000 miles away from Bel Air, Florida, in the Northern California city of Redding. The pair has a child in 2005. But back in Florida, Rosemary's friend Laurel thinks the couple and their secrets will eventually come unglued.
Knowing what a control freak he was, I knew that either he was going to kill Leslie or he was going to threaten her one too many times and she was going to come forward.
The relationship does unravel when Temple allegedly threatens Leslie on August 25th, 2008.
This all happened to coincide right around the 9th anniversary of Rosemary's disappearance. Almost 9 years to the date, Leslie was preparing to go to this family reunion in Washington State. Before she left, Mr. Temple pulled this rather large knife, put it to her throat, and said, "If you say anything, or if you talk about this, I'll kill you, and I'll kill myself, and I'll kill our daughter."
Temple denies Stewart's story.
Leslie, off the top of her head, fabricated that about me pulling a knife on her and putting it to her throat and threatening her. It's really simple. None of the incident happened.
While visiting her family 10 days later, Stewart allegedly tells them about her recent spat with Temple. She decides the only way to change her situation is to get police involved. On September 3rd, 2008, Stewart sets her plan into motion. she calls someone she hasn't spoken to for 9 years, attorney J.A. Baer.
And Leslie said, "Hi, Jay, it's Leslie Stewart. Do you remember me?" And candidly, the name didn't just jump off the page at me, but then the next line did. And she said, "About 9 years ago," and immediately at that point in time, the 9 years, I put 2 and 2 together. And I realized that I was talking to my client, who I had not had a conversation with in 9 years. And I was really curious as to why she was calling.
Now, all these years later, Stewart tells Hebert she wants to come forward and reveal the secrets of Rosemary Christensen's whereabouts. Her information will break the case wide open. Tampa Bay realtor Rosemary Christensen has been missing since August 26, 1999. But 9 years later, authorities are about to get a huge break in what's become a cold case. It comes from Leslie Stewart, the girlfriend of Rosemary's husband, Robert Temple. She calls attorney J.A. Baer and tells him she wants to turn Temple in.
She had told me for the very first time in almost 9 years that she had had an opportunity to be away from Mr. Temple for an extended period of time, and that she was ready to come forward and explain the details of Rosemary's disappearance.
Stewart gives Hebert the same information she gave him the last time they spoke. A story that's haunted him, that he's kept confidential for 9 years. The reason?
In any legal situation, when a client comes in and consults with an attorney, the attorney-client privilege applies. And what that means loosely is that whatever a client tells a lawyer should be kept in confidence, and that we cannot reveal that information to anyone for any reason, unless, of course, later the client waives that privilege.
Now, Stewart does waive the privilege and allows Hebert to get the police involved. She will reveal what happened to Rosemary Christensen. On September 3rd, 2008, Pinellas County Sheriff's detectives fly across country to secretly interview Stewart at her family reunion just south of Seattle. Leslie Stewart tells the detectives, on the night of Rosemary's disappearance, August 26, 1999, that Robert Temple called her multiple times, insisting that she come to his condo as soon as possible. She arrives to allegedly find Temple drunk and making strange statements.
One of the things was that he had been involved in a child manslaughter out of state. Additionally, he advised her that there was no such thing as the Witness Protection Program, another somewhat bizarre, out-of-left-field comment.
As Stewart wonders what Temple is talking about, he leads her into the bedroom he shares with his wife, Rosemary. Stewart is stunned by what she sees.
Leslie Stewart saw Rosemary Christensen laying in a pool of blood. She wasn't breathing, her eyes were shut, and it was quite obvious that Rosemary was deceased.
According to police records, Temple tells Stewart that he was sitting in front of his computer when Rosemary, who he thought was asleep, snuck up from behind and hit him on the head with the butt end of a large knife. Temple tells Stewart he and his wife struggled and that he accidentally stabbed Rosemary.
It was at that point in time that Leslie compounded the situation by making some bad decisions. She helped with the cover-up. She helped dispose of the body, and she continued with the cover-up story that Robert Temple had come up with. And she did all of this because she was scared of Robert Temple.
Stewart's story is the break police have been hoping for. But before they can arrest Robert Temple for Rosemary's murder, they must first locate the only evidence in the case, Rosemary's body, and Stewart must lead them to it. But they worry about how Temple will react if he learns of Stewart's activities.
We did not want Mr. Temple to get nervous about her not coming back or returning phone calls. There was concern that Mr. Temple had actually threatened to kill Leslie, and then he would kill their daughter, and then he would kill himself.
Police in Redding, California arrest Temple for making the threats 10 days earlier. But Temple denies the allegations.
She is so treacherous and vicious, you have no idea. She told the police 10 days after the incident was supposed to happen with the knife. 10 days later, no human being that I know would wait 10 days. Why didn't she drive straight to the police? It's because it was a damn lie to begin with, that's what. So.
While Temple is in police custody, and the couple's 3-year-old daughter is with Child Protective Services, Stewart flies to Florida with Pinellas County detectives. She takes them to property along the Suwannee River in the north-central region of Gilchrist County, Florida.
Leslie was fortunate that she was able to take them to the area where the body was buried and located.
Just as Leslie had told J.A. Bear 9 years before, investigators find Rosemary's body stuffed in a green plastic tub, like the one listed on the Walmart receipt. Shortly after the discovery, police in California charged Temple with first-degree murder of his wife, Rosemary Christensen. Rosemary's family and friends are saddened, but relieved to hear the news. Finally, after so many years, they learn what they believe to be the truth.
The family and I knew years ago that he had killed her.
I always knew that someday he was going to slip up because he wasn't that smart.
Temple has been extradited back to Pinellas County, Florida, to face murder charges. But he says they've got the wrong person.
I did help dispose of Rosemary's body. I did help cover up that crime. Those are very serious felonies, too. I deserve to be punished for what I did, and I won't lie about that. But I did not kill Rosemary, and I don't deserve to be punished for that.
Temple says it was Leslie who killed Rosemary. According to his story, Leslie was at the condo waiting for him to come home to have a secret tryst. But Rosemary came home first. Temple says Leslie pretended she was there to pick up a computer disk, but Rosemary didn't believe her.
She said she turned around to leave, and out of the corner of her eye, she said Rose attacked her. Then they started struggling, pulling hair. When she was wrestling around with Rose, Rose knocked her back on the bed. Rose was on top of her, and they rolled so hard that they rolled right off the edge of the bed onto the floor. When they landed, Rose hit the floor first. Leslie was on top of her, and she thought Rose had knocked herself out because she wasn't moving anymore. But when she got up, she saw the knife sticking in Rose.
Let's just look at it simply. He was 9 years ago declaring and promising that he had nothing to do with it. So it goes to show you what a liar he is. So I'm going to believe what he's got to say now.
I would submit to you that Robert Temple is a desperate man who has spent a life manipulating individuals, and he is desperately trying to manipulate this situation.
For her part, Stewart may receive immunity from prosecution in a deal struck with the state attorney's office.
We hammered out, in essence, a gentleman's agreement. The gentleman's agreement dealt with 3 primary issues. Number 1, that she testified truthfully. Number 2, that she had nothing to do with the actual homicide. And number 3, and probably most importantly, is that she helped produce or find Rosemary's body.
Rosemary's friends feel a sense of closure, but they're also eager to see Robert Temple punished.
Should it be death or should it be life in prison? I'm almost swaying now towards life in prison because, from what I understand, those circumstances are not the most pleasant.
Robert Temple looks forward to his day in court, where he will be able to face his accuser, the woman who he claims is Rosemary's killer.
But I'll be damned if I'm just gonna lay down and die until people know the truth. Honestly, I believe that I'm gonna be found not guilty. And I know a lot of people think that I did something bad to her, but I didn't. And that's the honest to God truth. And it just because Leslie and I stayed together doesn't mean that I forgot about Rose. I never forgot about Rose. I've got her picture now in my billfold the whole 9 years that we were gone. I always carried a picture of Rose. I always did.
As Rosemary's friends' lives go on, they carry their memories of Rosemary deep in their hearts.
Rosemary was the most kind, loyal, devoted person. She didn't deserve to have this end. And as again, I'm glad, I'm very glad that it's all over and she's happy.
Brittany Drexel disappeared on April 25th, 2009. When a person disappears without a trace, often the most critical information is hidden in their actions and words from the days before they vanished. Brittany Drexel's last known whereabouts may hold the clues to what happened to her. A teenager from Rochester, New York sneaks away for spring break without her parents' permission.
Brittany, she liked to play both of us. You know, if mom said no, dad said yes.
Being a 100-pound, pretty teenage girl, it's not an area where you want to be by yourself.
While walking back to her hotel, she suddenly vanishes.
I knew something was wrong. I knew that there was a problem of 30 minutes going by without talking to her.
Have recent problems at home pushed her to the breaking point?
That was a warning that I need help.
What or who could have led Brittany so far from home?
Where's my little girl? Is my little girl being tortured? Did my little girl get hurt?
I met Brittany, I believe I was 15, she was 14. We became best friends, got to know each other, and been so close ever since.
She used to like to joke around a lot, laugh. Just her smile just made you smile back.
She was such a fun-loving girl and just smiling all the time.
April 22nd, 2009. It's spring break for high school students in Rochester, New York, and with a long winter barely behind them, 17-year-old Brittany Drexel is ready for some warm sunshine. It's a long-standing rite of passage in the Rochester area for high school seniors to spend part of the week-long break in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Just kids, no parental supervision.
There was about 30 or 40 kids going down to Myrtle Beach, and it's kind of a tradition for them to go down there. It's just like any other tourist area. You got hotels, you got shops. Those kids are going down there, drinking, doing drugs, partying, going out to night spots, and laying out on the beach.
Brittany, a high school junior, is friendly with some older kids who ask her to join them for the trip down to Myrtle Beach.
She had asked me if she could go to Myrtle Beach, and I had told her no. And I also told her, you need to talk to your father. I know he wouldn't have allowed her to go, but, you know, she still needed to talk to both of us. And, you know, Brittany, she liked to play both of us. If mom said no, dad said yes.
Dawn and Chad Drexel have recently decided to divorce. Their separation has taken a toll on Brittany and her two siblings.
That Tuesday, Dawn called, 8-ish or something at night, said, your daughter's not listening to me. She's bringing up the spring break. She wants to go down.
According to Chad, Brittany had recently been sleeping late and skipping school. In his mind, it was no time for her to be going on vacation without parental supervision.
So I told her, Brittany, what's going on? Where are you telling your mother that you want to go to spring break? You're not going anywhere. Silence, she didn't say nothing. Do you understand me, Brittany? Yeah.
The next afternoon, Wednesday, the dispute continues. Brittany is so upset, she storms out of the house. She calls her boyfriend, John Greco, and asks him to pick her up. John, who has been dating Brittany on and off for over 2 years, knows how much Brittany wants to get away for spring break.
Her junior year was a tough year for her. She was dealing with her family, being in a divorce. Any problem that me and her would have would escalate the anxiety that she was carrying.
Brittany's close friend Tara has seen how hard junior year has been for her classmate.
She just wanted to hang out with her friends, just not have to stay home. She wanted to go away for spring break. She wanted to just be able to have fun for a week outside of Rochester.
In the months before her disappearance, Brittany has had her share of problems. She overdosed twice on her mom's pain medication. Both times are after a major breakup with John. Brittany's father believes she was feeling the strain of her parents' divorce as well.
In my heart, I felt like this is all my fault because I left the house and now all these things are happening. I went straight to the hospital. They pumped her. She didn't take as many as everyone thought. But that was a warning that I need help.
I could remember the look on her face. Her face was just all red and she was just crying. Tears were just coming down her face and I looked at her and I said, Britt, why would you do this? Why? Nothing in life is that bad to do this.
Brittany began seeing a counselor and eventually reconciled with John. This kind of troubling behavior was unusual for her. Brittany had been a carefree child. She talked about becoming a nurse and was also passionate about soccer.
She was just the fastest on that field, no matter what team she played. It's the one thing that every coach always said was, I've never seen a girl that fast.
Brittany, she's energetic, happy-go-lucky. She was the type of person that would walk into a room, no matter if it was the most depressing day of the week, she would light up that room.
But Brittany's fun-loving spirit is dampened on Wednesday, April 22nd, when her mother refuses her request to go to Myrtle Beach for spring break. Brittany vents to her boyfriend, John, after leaving the house in a huff.
When Brittany had told her mom that she wanted to go to South Carolina, her mom, obviously being a parent, said, no way, you're not going to South Carolina. You're 17 years old. And Brittany retaliated. She got into a fight with her mom. Brittany gave me a call. I came and picked her up and took her to her friend's house.
Later that day, Brittany makes one last request to go to Myrtle Beach.
Well, she had to call and apologized how she acted that day. She says, Mom, can I go to Myrtle Beach? And I told her no. And she goes, why? And I said, Brittany, because first of all, I don't know the people that you're going with. I said, there's no parents. And I said, something's gonna happen. And I said, I don't want anything to happen to you.
Brittany then proposes a new idea for her spring break. She asks her mother if she can spend the rest of her vacation at a friend's house nearby. Her mother agrees. Brittany promises to stay in touch by cell phone over the next few days. But in reality, Brittany makes very different plans, which she shares with her boyfriend, John.
She said, you know, a bunch of my friends want me to go down to Myrtle Beach with them. And I told her, I think it's a good idea. I think you can get away from Rochester. I think it would do you good if you go down to South Carolina for 3 days. Because really, in my eyes, what was going to happen in 3 days?
Coming up, Brittany's boyfriend's words come back to haunt him.
I knew something was wrong. I knew that there was a problem of 30 minutes going by without talking to her.
Days before 17-year-old Brittany Drexel disappears, she has an emotional fight with her mother, Dawn, who has refused to let her go to Myrtle Beach, South Carolina for spring break. Frustrated, Brittany asks to spend the rest of her vacation instead with a friend who lives nearby her home in Rochester, New York. Her mother agrees. But Brittany has no intention of staying in upstate New York. She decides to make the trip to Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, over 14 hours and 6 states away. She visits her boyfriend John at work before leaving.
It's a difficult memory for me to think about because I had that running in the back of my head just as everybody does when they're saying goodbye to somebody for a period of time. I think, what if this is the last time I see them? What if something happens? But then I pushed those thoughts to the side and thought, it's only 3 days.
Brittany leaves Rochester with 4 other friends Wednesday night, hoping to be at the beach by the next morning.
The people that she went down with, I thought were trusting people. I didn't know them personally. She did ask me to come, and I could not go because I had work.
Over the next few days, Brittany and John are in constant contact via cell phone, sometimes texting several times an hour. She tells him that she is staying at a hotel on the beach called the Bar Harbor Hotel.
While she was down there, her first few texts were, this weather is incredible. I mean, there's palm trees. Being out by the ocean, it was incredible.
But it isn't only the soft sand and inviting water that entice Brittany and her friends. With an abundance of bars and clubs, the area is a paradise for high schoolers enjoying independence for the first time. While the drinking age is 21, many of the clubs allow kids as young as 17 to enter.
The bars and the clubs down in Myrtle Beach, it's more based around money. They can get tons of teenagers to come in, and if they turn the blind eye to the fact that they're 16, 17 years old, they're still gonna make the money.
Brittany takes full advantage of her spring break freedom. She tells her mom that she's watching movies at her friend's house in Rochester, while sharing with John that she is having an amazing vacation hundreds of miles away.
She was having a ton of fun. She was out having a good time, living the spring break life. She was with a bunch of her friends, having a good time.
But by the second day, all that changes. Brittany starts feeling alienated from her friends.
Brittany had told me that they were using a lot of drugs. She wasn't into the drug scene, and therefore she tried to exclude herself from that, and she tried doing things on her own. She walked to the restaurant by herself. She walked down to the beach by herself. Clearly, being in South Carolina, being a 100-pound, pretty teenage girl, that's not an area where you want to be by yourself.
Early Friday evening, Brittany runs into a male friend from Rochester. 20-year-old Peter Brozowitz works for several local Rochester nightclubs. He's staying with some friends at the Blue Water Resort in Myrtle Beach, just a mile away from Brittany's hotel.
Peter Brozowitz was a kid who I didn't know personally, but Brittany did. He was always out at the parties at the clubs, so we became acquaintances through just the parties and knowing the same people. I assumed, being a good friend to Brittany, that he would watch over her.
On Saturday afternoon, Brittany's mom and sister, thinking that Brittany is at her friend's house in Rochester, call to say that they had just bought her a new pair of soccer cleats. They ask about her plans that day, now that the weather has suddenly shot up into the 80s, unusually warm for Rochester in April.
I asked her where she is, and she says I'm at the beach. Now, it was a decent day here in Rochester, and I thought she was at Charlotte Beach.
Charlotte Beach in Rochester is just 20 minutes from Brittany's house. Dawn still believes that Brittany is nearby and is being supervised by her friend's parents.
I had talked to her and also asked to talk to a parent. She had put someone on the phone, I don't know who that was, and, said that it was okay for Brittany to stay there. And I asked Brittany what she had planned on doing later. And she said, well, we're gonna go over to my friend's house and we're just gonna watch movies and not do too much of anything.
Brittany tells her mom that she'll return home the next day and thanks her for letting her spend the past few days with her friends.
She goes, I'll see you tomorrow, and then I love you. And I said, okay, I love you too. And then we hung up.
A seemingly normal conversation will soon take on tragic significance. It becomes the last time Dawn talks to her daughter before she disappears. Meanwhile, Brittany decides to meet up with her friend Peter. Before she goes, she borrows a pair of shorts from one of her friends. At around 8 o'clock, Brittany texts John en route to meet Peter at the Blue Water Resort. She continues to report that she is having a miserable time and that she is looking forward to coming home the next day.
She hated being down there, and she didn't like the people she went down with.
Shortly after arriving at the Blue Water Resort, Brittany receives a text from her friend saying she wants her shorts back so she can wear them that night. Annoyed, Brittany tells Peter she has to walk back to her hotel, which is over a mile down the road. She texts John as she leaves.
And it was, I can't wait to come home. I can't wait to see you. I'm so angry at everybody down here. I said, I think that you should have a good time. Just try to relax. It's your last night. Try to enjoy it. You're down there anyways. You might as well try to enjoy it before you come home and get back to school.
Brittany and John text each other as she leaves the Blue Water Resort. But then, something strange happens. She stops responding to his messages.
I knew that something was up about 10 to 20 minutes later, but a half an hour later was when I really began to start freaking out. Me and Brittany talked every 10 minutes on the phone. I knew something was wrong. I knew that there was a problem of 30 minutes going by without talking to her.
An hour later, John is worried. He threatens to tell her mom the truth about where Brittany really is if she doesn't text him back.
I called Brittany, and there was no response. So I texted her, and I said, if she didn't get in contact with me, I was gonna call her mom. And I was gonna break the news to the family that she was down in South Carolina. A couple minutes went by, she didn't text me back, didn't call me back.
Meanwhile, Dawn Drexel, Brittany's mother, is just returning home after having dinner with a few friends when she gets the call from John.
Her mom said, I'm gonna kill her. Like, there's no way that she went behind my back and did this without letting me know about it. And she was initially very angry, as any parent would be if they found out their kid was 14 hours away.
It wasn't registering until it started to sink in and I was thinking about it. Well, my heart dropped. I mean, what do you mean you can't find my daughter? And I started freaking out.
As soon as Dawn gets off the phone with John, she desperately tries to get in touch with Brittany.
When we were first texting her and calling her that night that she went missing, it would keep ringing and ringing and ringing, and then it started just to go to voicemail.
When I finished up work, it was 11 o'clock at night, and I got in my car, and I headed right to Brittany's house. And I walked in the door, and the whole family was sitting at the table. And I sat down and started to explain what happened.
Dawn calls the Rochester police, but they can't do much from upstate New York. So John reaches out to a friend of Brittany's in North Carolina, who drives straight to Myrtle Beach to file a missing persons report with local police. Meanwhile, Brittany's family and friends continue trying to reach her by phone, but each call goes straight to voicemail. The next morning, Brittany's mom, boyfriend, grandparents, and 2 friends head down to Myrtle Beach to search for Brittany, while her father, Chad, looks after her siblings.
Here I am driving down to Myrtle Beach, and I am just beside myself, thinking, how could this happen to my daughter? Where is she? Am I going to be able to find her?
Coming up, investigators get a break when they discover surveillance footage that could help them find the missing teen. "17-year-old Brittany Drexel has slipped off to Myrtle Beach, South Carolina for spring break, unbeknownst to her parents. At about 9 p.m., Saturday, April 25th, she's walking to her hotel while texting her boyfriend John, when suddenly her texts stop. Brittany is not seen or heard from again. Myrtle Beach Police Lieutenant Joseph Kapp and Detective Vincent Dorio head the investigation. As police begin the search for Brittany, her mother, her boyfriend John, her grandparents, and 2 friends are still en route from Rochester, New York to Myrtle Beach.
Trip down to South Carolina, I don't think anybody slept. It was extremely difficult because we knew that we're going down there to search for Brittany missing. It almost was a step out of reality. It was almost like this couldn't be happening.
Brittany has been missing about 12 hours. Myrtle Beach police launch an intensive search, fanning out in all directions from the hotel where Brittany was last seen. They canvass beaches and local hotels, looking for possible leads. Police find the friends with whom Brittany traveled from Rochester. They tell detectives they haven't been able to reach her since she disappeared and have no idea where she could be. When Brittany's mother meets with Myrtle Beach investigators, they ask her about Brittany's home life.
They thought she ran away. And I know my daughter didn't run away. I mean, she was going to be 18. She felt like she was a grown-up. She was also looking at colleges and things like that.
No indication that she did a lot of drinking or anything of that nature while she was here.
Her brother and sister, she loves to death, and she would never leave them. Never up and leave them, willingly.
The morning after Brittany's last contact with her boyfriend John, Myrtle Beach police are still hopeful this case will resolve quickly, like so many other spring break missing persons cases.
Especially with kids, they'll go and sit on the beach and talk. They lose track of time is generally what happens.
Detective Dorio and Lieutenant Kapp begin to work a lead. They learn that Peter Brozowitz, the young man Brittany went to see the night before, left town with his buddies at about 2 a.m. that morning, about 5 hours after Brittany vanished.
It appeared that they had left suddenly in the night. They had forgotten clothing and they didn't get a deposit. And I mean, these contributing factors appeared to be very, very suspicious.
As soon as Peter arrives back in Rochester, he is quick to acquire the representation of a criminal defense attorney. Investigators begin piecing together Brittany's last hours. On the way from her hotel to visit Peter and his friends at the Blue Water Resort, a traffic camera captures her walking and texting at about 8:15 p.m.
We do see her, she's walking alone and using her phone. And we verify that she was calling the people that she was going to visit to try and find the location of the motel.
According to Peter, Brittany left his room shortly after she arrived to go back to her hotel and return the pair of shorts to her friend. Detective Dorio checks the surveillance tapes of the Blue Water Resort. They verify Peter's story.
We get her going through the motel's front lobby doors, and then a short time later, exiting the motel and going northbound towards her motel.
Detective Dorio can now pinpoint the time Brittany left the Blue Water Resort, 8:48 p.m. Police estimate it should have taken Brittany about 15 minutes to reach the traffic camera on the return trip to her hotel.
Reviewing the tape on the traffic camera, we learned that Brittany never made it that far.
Somewhere between the Blue Water Resort and her own hotel, Brittany vanishes. Police continue to question Peter, the last known person to see Brittany Drexel. They're curious about his departure in the middle of the night, shortly after Brittany disappeared.
Peter totally cooperated with us. I mean, yes, he got an attorney, but he and his attorney were straightforward.
Peter tells them one of his friends was pressured by his mother to return to Rochester as soon as possible.
We followed up on all the information, what they told us they had done.
After investigating Peter's story, police find no evidence that he and his friends had anything to do with Brittany's disappearance. Unfortunately, investigators have no other leads on what may have happened to her, but they do obtain Brittany's cell phone records. What they find is not what they expect. The last known location of her cell phone is over an hour away in a very unwelcoming area. Coming up, is Brittany still alive?
It's the most horrific thing you would want to go through as a parent.
Get more Disappeared online at investigation.discovery.com. While Myrtle Beach police search the city for 17-year-old Brittany Drexel, Detective Vincent Dorio is investigating the last minutes before she disappears. On April 25th, 2009, what should have been the last night of her vacation, Brittany vanishes after visiting her friend Peter at the Blue Water Resort.
She was still in Myrtle Beach.
Graham Moore, a local reporter, has been tracking Brittany's case since her disappearance.
They were in the hotel room. I don't think she was there that long. She got a call from her friend saying, hey, can you bring me back my shorts? She left there, from what I understand. She was texting with her boyfriend.
The Blue Water's surveillance tapes show Brittany leaving at 8:48 p.m. But Brittany never appears on footage from a traffic camera along the way, returning to her hotel. Now, with her cell phone records in hand, detectives hope to learn what happened during those crucial few minutes.
At 8:58, she writes back to John, no, I'm staying in, packing, and going to sleep, probably. At that point, John asks, why babe, why boo?
According to Brittany's cell phone records, this exchange with John, her boyfriend back in Rochester, occurs 10 minutes after she leaves the Blue Water Resort. She is supposed to be walking back to her hotel, just over a mile away. But the records show that suddenly, all outbound activity from Brittany's phone stops after this text.
About 9:15, he starts writing back again, hey, why aren't you answering me? I'm concerned. At that point, that's when he starts text messaging her over and over. Where are you? You okay?
John texts some of the friends who traveled with Brittany to see if they can reach her, giving investigators their next lead.
And they start making calls, and that's how we're able to start tracking her as the phone is going southbound.
Anytime one of her friends called Brittany, her cell phone would ping or communicate with the nearest cell phone tower. This tells investigators the approximate location of Brittany's phone at that moment. Although she is supposed to be heading north towards her hotel, at 9:27 p.m., about 30 minutes after her last text, the data reveals that Brittany's phone is heading southbound on Route 17. Her phone is pinging cell towers in an area called Surfside Beach, almost 7 miles south of Myrtle Beach. It would take 2 hours to walk there and about 15 minutes by car.
The phone itself, because we're not sure if she was separated from the phone, was moving at a high enough rate of speed that it was in a vehicle.
Police aren't sure if the cell phone battery then dies or if it gets destroyed. But at 11:58 p.m., just 3 hours after Brittany's last text to John, her phone last pings tower number 332. It's located 2 counties and over 50 miles south of Myrtle Beach, near Georgetown County.
If you look at the timeline of the cell phone, made this 50-mile trek in a relatively short period of time. So it wasn't like it meandered down through the night. That cell phone made a beeline for Georgetown County.
The area is near the North Santee River, around the Pole Yard boat landing. It's an isolated, rural spot.
This right here is off the beaten path. There's nothing but country surrounding this area. The folks that would know it are fishermen or some of the locals from the town of Georgetown, maybe just across the river.
A 17-year-old from Rochester, New York is not going to end up at Pole Yard boat landing on a Saturday night during her spring break. It's a very rural part of the county, surrounded by water.
Myrtle Beach police launched their search here, in the area covered by cell phone tower number 332.
This right here is in the cell phone zone. It's about 4 miles wide, 5 miles deep. They staged here. The searchers then branched out to other likely zones.
The terrain in these parts is notoriously forbidding.
We have alligators in the river. There are wild hogs, plenty of snakes, lots of biting insects. It's not a very hospitable place for anybody to be at.
You can't imagine the conditions the searchers had to go through. Flies the size of golf balls. Very hot, very humid, very thick brush. A lot of dangerous wildlife.
After investigators conduct an initial search and find no trace of Brittany, local police and other agencies join forces to expand the effort.
Because of the phone, it goes through Horry, Georgetown, and Charleston County. So we have 3 different large agencies working this together.
Georgetown and Charleston furnished their boats with their sonar, and we checked the rivers. Charleston County had their helicopter there.
They did a massive ground search. They were running their ATVs through there every 20 minutes to get the alligators to back off so the dogs could come through. They had 6 shooters with their dogs because of the boar. I mean, it was just very dangerous.
While investigators comb the area, Dawn and Brittany's other loved ones hold out hope for some sign of Brittany.
There's a lot of questions going through my mind. It's the most horrific thing you would want to go through as a parent.
It was very intense. There were long days. There was a lot of ground covered. There was a lot of hope in the beginning that something was going to be found. It was about a week long of just intense searching, hundreds of volunteers out there, looking for that cell phone, looking for any clue of Brittany.
Monica Kaysen, director of the Q Center for Missing Persons, a family advocacy group that assembles volunteer search parties, is called in to help.
We were going in the first 11 days that Brittany disappeared. We searched sun up to sundown every day. All of the probable areas that people enter, the probable areas someone could have pulled offside the road, dirt roads with nobody lives on them at all.
Authorities know that the treacherous wildlife gives Brittany a slim chance of survival.
The urgency was there to get her before the wild animals did.
You know, there's always going to be hope. But while we're doing these searches, we certainly had numerous cadaver dogs.
When they had been doing this search, they had told me, they said if she's in this area, she would have been ate within 6 hours. You know, and I felt like they're thinking she's not alive, which scared me even more. I mean, you become frantic. I mean, you never think of your child going before you do.
The search teams find no sign of Brittany. Investigators continue combing the area and looking for leads, while Brittany's family and friends return to Rochester.
Coming home without Brittany was very, very difficult. I came home, her little brother Camden came over to my house and he goes, "I thought you were bringing Britt home." And I just looked at him and I was like, "I'm so sorry. She's not with me." Her little brother and her little sister asking me, "Where is she? Why isn't she with you?" And being as young as they are, it's hard to tell them answers.
I came back home and I walked upstairs and I had her pictures up. I had her clothes folded on my bed. I had like all of her stuff still reminding me it's not a dream. It's not made up in my imagination. Brittany's really missing.
Where's my little girl? Is my little girl being tortured? Did my little girl get hurt and die? If that happened, how do I explain it to my little one? How do I do that? That Daddy can keep you safe from that. How do I do that? I just tell her that I will be here for you, that I'm not gonna leave any of you guys.
Coming up, the investigation into Brittany's disappearance seems completely stalled until 8 months after she goes missing, when a potential clue finally emerges.
A week-long search for missing spring breaker Brittany Drexel turned up a possible piece of evidence in her disappearance.
It has been close to 8 months since 17-year-old Brittany Drexel vanished while on spring break in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Police have no promising leads in the case. Finally, in mid-December, investigators get a tip. It prompts them to search an area just north of where they had previously traced Brittany's cell phone. They scour the banks of the Santee River, surrounded by swamps and alligators.
The Georgetown County had asked us to check out an area that was a tip called in. We went over there to check it out. During that search, we were notified that the sunglasses were found.
While combing the area, authorities get an intriguing lead. A pair of sunglasses that could be Brittany's is spotted on the muddy embankment of the Santee River.
On the second day of that search, a man and his wife were on a boat. They had docked along the riverbank there, went to collect some firewood and came across a pair of sunglasses. They had seen the night before on the news that searchers were out there looking for a missing girl, and they thought it was odd, the place that they found these sunglasses. They found these sunglasses on a pretty desolate part of the riverbank. Investigators were pretty hopeful when they found them.
Brittany's mom wants to believe that the glasses could be her daughter's.
I had seen what the sunglasses look like, and I know Brittany had gotten a pair for Easter.
But others are skeptical they belong to Brittany.
I don't recognize them. It doesn't mean that when she was down there, she didn't buy them.
It was months and months after her disappearance. So why all of a sudden are glasses showing up there that don't have all the mud, all the weathered activity on it, the leaves, the branches, all that? It could just be they had hikers and someone lost them out of their backpack.
Since the sunglasses turn up a few miles from where the teams have resumed searching, those close to Brittany's case question whether the appearance of this potential clue might be calculated.
Someone may have put them there that has been getting some heat from the authorities and wanted to try to bring the search elsewhere from this property or this area to this area now.
Were they meant to be found? I feel confident that, if someone did put them there, that they wanted to be found.
Investigators send the glasses to forensics for testing.
They sent them off to see if they could collect DNA off of them to make any sort of match. And from what I've been told, there was no DNA on the glasses. Again, another dead end for Dawn Drexel and Brittany's family.
In early April, a few weeks before the one-year anniversary of Brittany's disappearance, police announced that they have identified 3 to 4 persons of interest in the case.
The people that we're looking at, I feel really good about. All of our little pieces of evidence, they haven't been tied in yet, but they're all pointing in the same direction, towards certain people.
Detectives will not reveal more information, yet they say they now believe this is no longer a missing persons case, but a homicide. However, Detective Dorio still needs more to file charges.
Just a matter of time now before everything gets put together and we can say, yes, here's a solid arrest.
While investigators continue pursuing the case, Dawn Drexel has her own theory and believes Brittany may have been abducted.
I think Brittany is still alive. I think somebody's holding her against her will. I've heard a lot about human trafficking. Anybody can be a trafficker. That person could be somebody that you meet and become friends with. It could be somebody that promises you, a modeling career, or you can make this much money, or anything.
If you know Brittany, if you're close to Brittany, you gotta watch out for her. You cannot let her just walk around by herself because she thinks that nothing can hurt her. She's too trusting of people, and you need to watch out for her.
However, authorities are skeptical that this is a human trafficking case.
We've got no indication. We've had no history. Most of your human trafficking, they target victims where there's a language barrier, and generally where human trafficking takes place, it continues to take place. We've had nothing prior or since that would be an indicator.
Human trafficking in South Carolina is not a problem that I know about, at least. Being from South Carolina, you never hear about human trafficking.
We can't eliminate it, but it's certainly not at the forefront of our investigation.
In an effort to generate new leads in the investigation, police released to the media a new and important piece of evidence.
There is some new information in the disappearance of a New York teenager who vanished nearly a year ago on a spring.
A video of Brittany Drexel, shot just 24 hours before she disappeared.
Hey, Brett.
What?
A college student from the Midwest, who had also been vacationing in Myrtle Beach, shot this video on the night of Friday, April 24th, after befriending Brittany along Ocean Boulevard.
There were some kids that were antagonizing her because she was a really pretty girl. Some kids were yelling at her and antagonizing her, and so she asked some kid, will you walk with me, so that they stop yelling towards me.
They talked and they went to her motel room, and he did a short video clip of her while they were talking. And it was confirmed that it was, in fact, Brittany.
Investigators verified that the student has an alibi and has no knowledge of Brittany's whereabouts.
Once he was aware that he had video, he and his family contacted us and relinquished the video to us.
Brittany Drexel has yet to be found.
The video receives national attention.
Now, never before seen images have surfaced from the night before she disappeared.
A boy she had met on spring break shot this cell phone video to hold time.
Unfortunately, nothing emerges that enables police to make an arrest. Back in Rochester, Brittany's loved ones struggle to make some sense out of her disappearance. They try to move on with their lives while honoring Brittany.
At this point, I'm advocating for Brittany, but I'm also trying to get the awareness out to all these parents that think that this could never happen to their child. Teenagers, you know, they think they're invincible and that this could never happen, but these parents need to know that this happens all the time and have them be aware.
I am now studying criminal justice because I want to help find girls who are missing, and I want to be the person who is able to catch that person who has done it. And I'm going to be the best that I can be, so I can be that person that will give those families justice.
Brittany's family and friends do not give up hope that one day they will hear from her again.
We just miss her to our souls and wish her to come home. Obviously, it's my little girl, but this isn't about me. This is about her brother and her sister. They need her. We all need her, but they need her.
We need Brett back home. We really do. I just miss her a lot.
We don't know what happened when she walked out of that hotel and she walked up on that boulevard. Was somebody following her? Was somebody planning on harm my daughter? Just not knowing is the most horrible thing.
Tara Grinstead disappeared on Saturday, October 22nd, 2005. When a person disappears without a trace, often the most critical information is hidden in their actions and words from the days before they vanished. Tara Grinstead's last known whereabouts may hold the clues to what happened to her. A small-town beauty queen, loved by all.
If you were ever Tara's friend, you would be her friend for life.
Vanishes under baffling circumstances.
There can be an abduction with no indication of a struggle.
She gave me the impression that he acted like he was not himself.
He claimed that he was a serial killer.
A massive police investigation thrusts a tiny town into the national spotlight.
There was a latex glove.
There's all kinds of reasons why people kill others.
I've been involved in some major investigations, but this one has had more twists and turns.
It's worse than death. Death is final. Someone vanishing, it's not final until you find them.
On the day she disappears, high school teacher Tara Grinstead spends the afternoon with some of her students. They're preparing for the Miss Georgia Sweet Potato Pageant, a big event in a small, close-knit town like Ocilla, Georgia.
On that Saturday, Tara had helped a lot of the girls prepare for the pageant. She had done their hair and their makeup.
A lot of them borrowed her dresses as well. And she had so much fun. She had a really good time with the girls. You know, they had snacks and had lunch.
Tara has an especially close relationship with many of her students.
I never heard anybody say a bad thing about Tara. They related really well to her. She always went the extra mile to help her kids, and she made class so much fun.
Most of Tara's students would say, well, she's my teacher, but she's also my friend.
Tara has been involved in beauty pageants since her high school years, but has her own agenda about the competitions.
Pageanting was not for show and not for everybody to tell her she's beautiful. I think it gave her self-confidence, number one. I think it bettered her self-esteem.
Contestant number 2.
In 1999, Tara won the title of Miss Tifton, Georgia. That victory gave her the opportunity to compete in the Miss Georgia pageant.
Once you accomplish one of your dreams, I mean, how often do you get to do that? And she did by going to Miss Georgia.
Tara doesn't win the Miss Georgia pageant, but her family says that for her, winning was never the most important thing.
I never saw in her that winning a pageant was an ego thing. It was not about just the title of winning. It was always about accomplishing something.
Tara's goal had always been education. She succeeds in funding her entire undergraduate education with money earned from pageants.
She knew college is expensive and it was going to be tough on her, and she did not want to burden her mother any more than she had to.
After getting her bachelor's degree in education, Tara works full-time and takes graduate classes at night, working steadily toward her ultimate goal, a PhD in education.
She had gotten a 6-year degree in administration, and that was what she was pursuing her doctorate in. I think she eventually wanted to be a high school principal.
That Saturday night, a happy and relaxed Tara leaves the sweet potato pageant and heads over to a cookout attended by friends from school.
Tara stayed at the cookout for about 2 hours and left at approximately 11 o'clock p.m., ostensibly to go home.
She said she was going to watch the video of the pageant, and then she was going to go to bed.
In a small town like Ocilla, neighbors look out for each other. Because she lives alone, Tara and her next-door neighbors have a system for saying, "I'm home and all is well."
Every night when she came home, the first thing she would do was go into her room and turn on the lamp in the bedroom. The neighbors would look out and they would see that lamp on, and it would kind of be a signal to them, well, Tara's made it home.
That night, the light in Tara's window never goes on. The next day, nobody sees Tara. No one is able to contact her, including her mother.
The more that she called and the longer that the time went on that Tara didn't call her back, she started to get concerned.
Sometimes people just want to be left alone. But I can't imagine her ever ignoring her mother's phone call.
On Monday morning, Tara doesn't show up to teach her classes at Irwin County High School. Friends and family know that something is very wrong.
That was a red flag for me because I knew what a dedicated teacher Tara was.
Tara had never missed a day of school without prearranging a substitute teacher.
One of Tara's friends calls Ocilla Police Chief Billy Hancock.
He indicated to me that Tara had not been seen over the last day, that if the school had been contacted, she had not shown up there.
Chief Hancock arrives at Tara's residence at approximately 10 a.m. on Monday. Her car is parked in its usual spot under the carport.
The fact that her car was there and she wasn't meant that she probably left with someone.
The doors of the car are unlocked. Oddly, there is an envelope containing $100 in cash left in the center console.
I would think it'd be unusual for anybody to leave that amount of cash in the car and leave it unlocked.
That's not like Tara to have money laying around any place.
Inside Tara's house, however, everything looks fairly normal.
There was no sign of forcible entry. There was no clear indication that any kind of struggle had occurred inside.
Both the exterior and interior of Tara's residence are photographed in detail.
Every room was photographed thoroughly to capture, what the condition of the house was at the time of our arrival.
Clothing and accessories scattered around the floor help police reconstruct some of Tara's last known movements.
The clothes Tara was wearing on the night of October 22nd were on the floor in her bedroom, which indicated to us that she had indeed arrived home. Her bed appeared as if possibly somebody had either slept in it or laid in it.
Her cell phone was in the charger. It was still there in the charger. And to us, it indicates that she left the house with intentions of coming back. She knew she wasn't going to be gone long enough to have use of her cell phone.
Investigators locate more intriguing clues outside Tara's house. A business card is wedged into her front door. They find something far more disturbing on the ground.
Initial law enforcement officers who arrived immediately spotted a latex glove lying in the grass in the front yard, several feet away from the front door.
Then I really got scared.
For investigators, the latex glove is an ominous indicator of foul play.
It certainly indicated to us that there was a strong likelihood that a crime had occurred. It would imply that whoever was using it was trying to avoid being detected.
The latex glove's not something that all of us have. I think somebody had it very specifically so that they would not leave a trace.
Our gut feeling upon processing Tara's residence was that a crime had occurred.
Coming up, police investigate the men in Tara's life and uncover some troubling leads.
She gave me the impression that he acted like he was not stable.
After a day spent with friends and colleagues, 30-year-old high school teacher Tara Grinstead has vanished.
I have never known Tara to just take off without letting somebody know. I'm not aware of any time that she ever did that. Everybody might not know, but somebody always knew where she was.
By the time local police arrive at her residence, nobody has seen or heard from Tara for almost 2 days.
Everybody knew that she just had not, gone off for a couple of days, that something had happened, something serious had happened to Tara.
Due to the urgent nature of the case, Ocilla police request the assistance of the Georgia Bureau of Investigation.
When a person goes missing and we're asked to investigate, we operate with the premise that we're going to presume the worst and hope for the best.
To investigators, a latex glove found near Tara's front door makes it look like someone was attempting to cover up a crime.
Either there was an abduction of Tara in which someone wore gloves, or they returned to the scene and accidentally dropped a glove.
Besides the glove, police have few indications that a crime took place.
To us, there was no clear sign of a struggle. However, that doesn't affect how you proceed in an investigation, because there can be an abduction with no indication of a struggle. It'd be quite easy to take someone out of their house at gunpoint and there'd be no disturbance whatsoever.
My gut feeling is that somebody came by and she left with someone that she knew, and that something horrible happened after that.
Tara's family begins to fear that they might not ever see her again. Meanwhile, the lack of a crime scene presents a daunting challenge to investigators.
In a typical criminal investigation, you have an outcome against which you can measure evidence and theories. In a missing persons case, you don't have that outcome, so you can't measure anything against anything. Everything remains in play.
Law enforcement seals Tara's house and takes her car and the latex glove in for evidence processing.
We actually had a crime lab scientist on the phone immediately who was preparing a plan as to how to handle that latex glove to maximize the possibility of the recovery of evidence.
Tara has been missing for 12 hours. That evening, at Irwin County High School, students and teachers band together in an effort to find her.
The first flyer that was made just basically had a picture of Tara and just had the words missing on it. It just described her height and weight and color of her hair and her eyes.
The students are coming up and they're like, you know, what can we do? We can't just stand around. And I was so touched that, you know, these kids did that. And, you know, they did this until like 1 o'clock in the morning.
Tara's fellow teachers and students design and then distribute hundreds of flyers throughout the Ocilla area.
Posters were everywhere in this community. I mean, they were on light poles, in business windows, on cars, just almost everywhere imaginable.
Georgia Bureau of Investigation agents interview all of Tara's neighbors and conduct an extensive search of her neighborhood.
Also, some tracking dogs were brought in to try to see if they could pick up on any kind of scent of Tara, to see if she had gone somewhere on foot that we might be able to find her.
Both the canvas and the search dogs turn up nothing of value to investigators. Searching for clues, they delve deeply into Tara's background.
You learn as much about the victim as you can, their timeline, their propensities, their associates.
They learn that Tara's circle of acquaintances was huge, from her second job at a department store makeup counter to the various campuses where she took graduate classes.
She had been going to school at night for several years, working on her master's and her specialist degree, so that involved a lot of students that she had met that obviously we would not know.
But it is closer to home that investigators uncover a deeper mystery.
A lot of disappearance cases, you kind of have an immediate focus. You have, you know, a close associate, a boyfriend, or what have you, ex-husband, husband. In this case, what we learned was Tara had several such associates.
Looking into Tara's personal life, they find a complex series of relationships with men.
Tara was involved romantically with several different persons in a close period of time, and she kept those relationships separate from one another.
Investigators focus first on Tara's ex-boyfriend, Marcus Harper.
Tara had a long-term romantic relationship with Marcus Harper. They had broken up approximately a year earlier. Tara had ended the relationship because she believed Marcus wasn't ready to get married.
Investigators learn that Harper served in the Ocilla Police Department for 4 years and then enlisted in the United States Army Rangers in 2001.
She's very proud of him and what he accomplished because he was really good at what he did.
Investigators from the GBI conduct a series of interviews with Marcus Harper.
We interviewed Marcus Harper the very first day and talked to him several times after that.
Over the years that the couple was together, Tara's friends and family got to know Marcus well.
They really looked like a great couple. I mean, he was big and strong, and she was, you know, they were like a really good couple, and I think that they enjoyed each other.
Anytime that we were around Marcus, we had a very good relationship with him. He was always very respectful to us. He was always respectful to Tara when we were with them.
Anita Gaddis sees her sister's relationship with Marcus quite differently.
Tara was a little bit afraid of him. You know, he's been an Army Ranger, and the training that they have is just unbelievable. The things that they can do, the things that they survive. And we stayed in touch with him during his training, and I know what he was able to survive. So I know what the guy's made of.
Despite the differing perceptions within her family, investigators find no history of violence in Tara and Marcus's relationship. But they discovered that several months before she disappeared, Tara did experience the threat of violence at the hands of one of her former students.
He had gone over to her house one afternoon in March of 2005. He wanted to speak to her.
The 20-year-old graduated from Irwin County High School the previous year. After taking Tara's history class, he developed a fondness for her.
They had a closer relationship upon his graduation. He would speak to her and see her from time to time.
I just thought it was, one of her students that had, a crush on Tara because she was so beautiful and so sweet to all of her students. And he was the soul that Tara would have wanted to help.
But according to friends, Tara had expressed concern about her former student's behavior.
She had told me she'd been having trouble with him, like kind of getting a little too attached to her or whatever, and kind of got an impression that he was not stable.
Months before Tara disappeared, he came to her house and tried to physically force his way inside.
He wanted to speak to her, and she didn't want to talk to him at that time, and she wouldn't let him in the house, and he became quite upset, loud, began yelling and banging on her door, trying to gain entry.
That was a very violent situation. Neighbors actually had to call the police because he was so loud.
I was yelling and screaming through the door and banging on the door, and she gave me the impression that he acted like he was not himself.
Coming up, in the weeks before she disappears, Tara's personal life begins to unravel.
She called hysterically. I said, Tara, are you okay? You are not thinking about suicide.
30-year-old Tara Grinstead has been missing for 24 hours. Agents from the Georgia Bureau of Investigation learned that 7 months earlier, one of Tara's former students appeared uninvited at her home and tried to force his way inside.
He wanted to speak to her. She did not come to the door. He began to bang on the door. Basically, there started to become a disturbance.
I don't know if he read some signals wrong or if he just had a crush on her that he took too far.
I believe she just thought he might go away, but I think she realized that he wasn't going away, so she came to the door. They spoke briefly, and I think she tried to go back inside. She then started to shut her door, and he grabbed her on the arm. She pulled away and was able to shut the door.
At the time, Ocilla police are unable to get the former student to calm down, so he is arrested for disorderly conduct. According to Tara's handwritten statement to police, he invaded my privacy in my own home. While doing so in a raging and out-of-control manner, I was very scared for my well-being, as well as concerned about him.
His actions at the house did concern us, that there was some sort of a connection between he and Tara.
She never told me that she had any kind of inappropriate relationship with him. I don't think she did.
Still, the former student's strange behavior is reason enough for investigators to look for a connection with Tara's disappearance.
We thought it critical to interview him immediately. He was working at a job in Milledgeville, Georgia, about 100 miles away, and we immediately had an agent in that area find him.
The former student is able to account for his time on the night that Tara disappeared. Meanwhile, investigators keep digging into Marcus Harper and his relationship with Tara. In February of 2002, Marcus was deployed to Afghanistan. According to her sister, the separation and distance became difficult for Tara to deal with.
She said she really could not stay in that kind of relationship because if they go overseas and something bad happens to them, you never find them, nobody knows anything.
I could tell after that things changed a lot for them. He changed and their relationship changed. But she just didn't want to quit. She loved him.
Tara and Marcus end their relationship, but remain in close contact.
They still saw each other occasionally. They still talked and emailed and called. And so Tara took that as there was still some kind of relationship.
Then, 3 weeks before Tara disappears, Marcus returns home to Ocilla, but doesn't contact her.
He had not told Tara he was home. Tara found out that he was back in Ocilla in Irwin County from a third party, and that made her very upset.
That really devastated her. She felt betrayed, and at that point I said, okay, look, he didn't want you to know he was back. And I remember saying to her, you know, now it's time you move on, but she just could not quite get over Marcus.
Investigators learn that Tara calls Marcus from her car and confronts him about not getting in touch.
She was coming back from class in Waycross when she had engaged in a telephone conversation with Marcus Harper.
Marcus tells Tara that their relationship is over once and for all. According to friends and family, she has an emotional breakdown on the road.
She called hysterically and just felt like she was not able to drive. And one person went and picked her up, and the other passenger drove her car home. So they took her back to her house, and from what I understand, you know, they had to carry her in, and she was just so, you know, hysterical, crying.
Tara's fragile emotional state worries those closest to her.
I said, Tara, I mean, in these exact words, do you need anything? Do we need to do anything for you? Are you okay? You are not thinking about suicide. No, I promise you, I'm not, and that is not it. She said, I'm a little depressed, which everybody gets, but I am not suicidal.
Tara's family believes that she would never have committed suicide, regardless of how depressed she may have been over Marcus.
She was just not that type of person. She would not have done that to our mother. There's absolutely no way, regardless of how, you know, distraught or upset she was.
Agents at the Georgia Bureau of Investigation come to the same conclusion.
The possibility of suicide was something that was certainly considered, but after a few days and she hadn't been found, it made it much less likely, because when one commits suicide, it's quite difficult to dispose of your own body. So we believe that had that occurred, we would have found her already.
In the meantime, investigators continue to gather information from Marcus Harper. In a series of interviews, he accounts for his time on the night Tara disappeared.
He said that on Saturday night, he had gone to the White Horse Saloon in Fitzgerald, where he visited with some friends until approximately 2 in the morning.
After that, Marcus says he met up with his friend and former partner on the Ocilla Police Department and spent the night in a police cruiser, doing a ride-along.
We were able to corroborate that as best it could be corroborated. There was, no point that he didn't cooperate with us in the investigation.
For the moment, investigators' focus shifts away from Marcus Harper. Then, the business card found on Tara's front door provides a new lead. Agents learn that it belongs to a police officer from a nearby town, a married man.
We learned that he and Tara were very close. He had been trying to contact Tara all day Sunday and had left a number of messages on her answering machine.
A neighbor tells police that he was a frequent visitor to Tara's house.
He went down there and left his card in the door so that when she got home that she would know that he had been by there.
Investigators interview the officer, and he provides an alibi for his time the night Tara disappeared.
He was interviewed and gave a very thorough timeline of his actions over the last couple of weeks.
They put his family through questioning and the people he was with that night. The thing is if he had anything to do with it, he wouldn't have gone down there and left a business card in the door,
4 days after Tara's disappearance, investigators find themselves back at square one. Desperate to uncover tangible evidence, they organize a large-scale search for Tara.
A organized, comprehensive ground search took place of the entire perimeter of Irwin County.
We had horses, We had airplanes, people volunteered. We had four-wheelers, four-wheel drive vehicles. We had people walking.
The massive search effort uses every tool available in Irwin County's arsenal. Dozens of agencies and hundreds of volunteer searchers take part in the effort to find Tara.
It's a very emotional thing, especially when you know the area they're going, when you know they're looking in open, deep wells, when you know they're going through swamps, when you know they're looking in abandoned grain bins.
It was pretty intense. It was long hours, long hours. Usually the searches would go on from, say, 8 or 9 o'clock in the morning until dark.
Most of them did not know Tara. They had never met Tara. And you've got hundreds of strangers coming to search for this beautiful person that has vanished.
Despite the massive effort, none of the searches come up with any evidence related to Tara's disappearance.
It makes you feel helpless because, you know, you want to solve these problems and, you know, you want to catch the bad guy. There's one involved.
The one thing good that came out that we didn't find her, you know, was what it gave us hope, of course, that she was still alive.
With the search effort yielding no leads, the latex glove found in Tara's yard looms as a piece of potentially critical evidence. Since it was recovered, forensic tests have been ongoing, but agents are circumspect.
We weren't real hopeful that we would be able to retrieve meaningful DNA or fingerprint evidence from it, but we had to try. So once we obtained the glove, we took it to the GBI crime lab in Atlanta.
Forensic scientists put the glove through a battery of tests, including one looking for the presence of DNA. It's a long shot, because according to police, it's very difficult to recover useful evidence from latex gloves.
If you process for fingerprints first, it will destroy DNA evidence. If you process for DNA evidence, you may destroy or somehow cause problems with the fingerprint evidence. They basically cut it up based on the probability of which section of the glove would reveal which type of evidence and processed it accordingly.
We all watch TV, and on CSI, you know, they do the DNA, and, you know, we know everything within 30 minutes, but, I mean, it's weeks and weeks and weeks to get results back. And, you know, it's very frustrating to just, you know, sit and wait.
Despite the long odds, investigators hit the jackpot.
We were able to recover both fingerprint evidence and DNA evidence.
The fingerprints found on the glove are only partial prints, limiting their use in the investigation.
Fortunately, we also had DNA on the glove, male DNA.
Thanks to the DNA evidence, GBI agents finally have a powerful lead in Tara's disappearance.
The DNA evidence lets us know that a male was at Tara's house and either wearing or had a glove in their possession.
Coming up, police look for a DNA match, believing that person may be responsible for Tara's disappearance.
We began swabbing pretty much any associate of Tara's that we came across.
And later,
volunteers are back searching for Tara Grinstead.
The news media descends on Ocilla, potentially compromising the investigation.
When you lose control of the flow of information, you don't know what you lost.
Get more Disappeared online at investigation.discovery.com. The investigation into Tara Grinstead's disappearance has been in full force for 10 days. Investigators recovered DNA evidence from the latex glove found at Tara's residence, suggesting that an unknown male was on Tara's property during the time she disappeared.
We knew that we were looking for a male potential offender. So at that point, we ensured that we obtained DNA samples from most everyone we could associate with Tara.
She met hundreds of people every day, and she was such a personable person and smiled, and she would introduce herself to anybody.
Any male that came in contact with Tara, whether it was at her high school, at one of the colleges she went to, there's very few people that I know that they haven't swabbed.
Agents collect the DNA of 144 men that had any contact with Tara, no matter how distant.
Essentially, all you do is take a swab of the inside of someone's cheek and submit that swab for comparison against the questioned DNA. In our case, the DNA from the glove.
But when the samples of DNA are compared, there is no match with any of Tara's male associates. Investigators find no match with the National DNA Database either.
We've investigated everyone that we know of that was closely associated with Tara, and we can't find anything to indicate that any of them are responsible for her disappearance.
But investigators can't eliminate any of the men in Tara's life either. They might have had an accomplice whose DNA was left on the glove.
Maybe someone was involved in moving Tara's body. Maybe someone was involved in cleaning up, whatever evidence may have been at her residence before we arrived.
The lack of conclusive evidence frustrates investigators. Although each of Tara's close male associates provide credible alibis, none can account for every minute of their time during the 34 hours between when Tara was last seen and when she was discovered missing.
It's difficult for anyone to account for every hour of every day and provide an alibi for that. There are times that they're alone and nobody knows exactly what they're doing.
Because so much is unknown, investigators still need to consider all possibilities surrounding Tara's disappearance.
She left on her own, that she was trying to make some point to resolve one of her relationships, that any of these people that we encountered in the first day or days thereafter could have gotten into an altercation with her, or that there could be just a random offender out there that saw Tara as a crime of opportunity. Nothing was beyond the possibility, and nothing is. So as much as we'd love to clear people, say that they had no involvement, we're unable to do so because we don't know what happened to Tara.
As time drags on and Tara isn't found, investigators face an unexpected new challenge.
Turning our attention now to the case of that missing Georgia high school teacher, Tara Grinstead.
Volunteers are back searching for Tara Grinstead.
Growing attention from the national news media makes a sensitive investigation difficult to manage.
The entire interior of the residence and exterior was being broadcast as newscaster after newscaster toured the residence, videoed it, and put it on the air.
Your possible crime scene is all of a sudden exposed to the national media. That's just something that law enforcement isn't used to having happen.
According to both Ocilla Police and the GBI, confidential details of their investigation are reported by the news media without their knowledge or consent.
Things that were in the residence that we might have used to trip up somebody in an interview was gone.
Investigators never wanted their discovery of the latex glove to become public knowledge, but it did.
Once it became public, anyone that we interviewed that may have been responsible for Tara's disappearance and was the one that left that glove knew we had it. You might think that he'd dropped it somewhere else, or may not even realize he'd left a glove behind at all.
Equally troubling, private citizens set up tip lines, but sometimes neglect to share information with law enforcement.
One well-known tip line was actually going to the cell phone of a bounty hunter. What information may have been lost because of that, I can't imagine. When you lose control of the flow of information, you don't know what you lost.
The sometimes intrusive media coverage also stokes the fires of accusation.
With all the media attention, there were a lot of armchair sleuths all over the country that were contacting us and some conducting their own investigation.
One website, called Backward State, goes so far as to present excerpts from one of GBI agent Gary Rothwell's television interviews, played backwards. The amateur sleuth claims that the interview audio played in reverse reveals hidden clues about the people responsible for Tara's disappearance.
I was identifying the true offender, and all you had to do was play my interview backwards. It was amazing.
Then, perhaps due to the media blitz, several new tips promising information into Tara's disappearance come in.
I got a phone call and was told that there had been a fire not too far out of town. And they said, I don't want to upset you, but I just need to prepare you. There is a chance that it could be connected to Tara.
There was a residence a few miles from Ocilla where a house burned and a vehicle burned. There were some theories developed that that arson was used to cover up evidence of Tara's abduction.
GBI agents and support personnel go to the burned-out house to investigate.
We headed to that scene as fast as possible, coordinating, having appropriate personnel to process it.
Anytime there's burned bodies or the remains of something are found, it's the first thing that goes through my mind, you know, is it her?
But the search effort yields nothing.
Nothing at the arson scene was found that could be associated with Tara.
In the beginning, every time what sounded like a viable tip would come in, we would immediately think, this is it. After the first probably 2 or 3 times then that happened, you learn to be guarded in your optimism.
Over the next few months, more tips come in, but none bring investigators any closer to finding Tara.
There's been many times when we had what we call he ain't right moments, where we've encountered people in this investigation that their behaviors didn't seem appropriate. That's happened lots of times. Unfortunately, we haven't found evidence to support those feelings. Most of the time, we found evidence completely to the contrary.
Three years go by without any meaningful leads. Then, there is a bizarre development in the case.
I've decided to confess a few things. I've decided to do it on YouTube because there's millions of people that could help play my game.
With his face and voice digitally distorted, a man calling himself the Catch Me Killer posts an anonymous video online.
I want to confess to 16 murders. But in order to do so, I'm going to give everybody a clue. Many clues.
He claimed that he was a serial killer. He claimed that he had murdered 16 people, and he alluded to the fact that Tara was one of them.
The video doesn't refer to Tara by name, but cites details that clearly identify her, including the date of her disappearance.
He claimed that he had slit her throat, and he made reference to her screams into the night and said something about, but my blade, she could not fight. It was just horrible things that he said.
It was almost a sickening feeling to have an individual get up there and say those kind of things.
The GBI quickly launches an investigation to identify and apprehend the man claiming to have murdered Tara Grinstead.
Here we have a guy who's basically claiming that he's killed a woman we've been looking for 4 years. We had to find him.
Coming up, investigators zero in on the Catch Me Killer.
We executed search warrants on the basis that Tara was a victim of a crime and that he was the perpetrator. We were looking for evidence of her disappearance and possible murder.
By February 2009, Tara Grinstead has been missing for almost 3.5 years. There are still no suspects in her disappearance. But now, a man calling himself the Catch Me Killer posts an anonymous video online. With his voice and likeness digitally obscured, he claims to have killed 16 people, including Tara Grinstead.
Once all 16 bodies are found, you'll know exactly who I am. because I have knowledge that the police know about. Yes, they are know about. But you don't.
Investigators note that the Catch Me killer appears to possess intimate knowledge of Tara's life.
He described Tara's occupation, Tara's participation in beauty pageants, locations on Highway 32, which ran right through Ocilla, Georgia. There was no question he was talking about Tara.
I couldn't sleep, I couldn't eat, just hanging on every minute for information. I thought, you know, this is what we've been waiting for, and this is going to be the answer. We're going to finally know what happened to her.
Officials from several agencies join forces to track down the self-confessed killer. Agents get search warrants in order to locate the computer used to post the video.
What we did is ultimately traced the posting of that YouTube video to a couple of locations in Gainesville, Georgia, in Hall County, Georgia.
Investigators identify the man behind the video as Andrew Scott Haley. They raid his home and other locations in Georgia and seize his computer, camera, and writings. Within hours, they determine that Haley's video confession is a hoax.
He thought it was just a game, and he thought he could dupe people, and he somehow took pleasure in doing that. I don't think he gave any consideration to the harm that he was causing the victims' families and others that cared about Tara.
I still cannot understand what this person must have said to himself every day to justify what he was doing and to tell himself that it was okay. This was not a teenage prank. This was a grown, married man with children of his own.
Haley is found guilty of felony tampering with evidence and making false statements, and sentenced to 10 years in prison. As a first offender, he'll serve just 2 years in a work-release jail. Today, the Grinstead case file is the Georgia Bureau of Investigation's biggest active case. Finding Tara still hinges on making a DNA match to the latex glove found outside her home.
It's almost amazing that we haven't gotten a hit yet. If someone is responsible for Tara's disappearance, it's highly likely we haven't talked to them yet.
Investigators still believe the case will eventually be solved.
We have evidence. We have DNA evidence. We have fingerprint evidence. It's not like we have nothing. We have a lot of information. We just don't know what it all means.
In the meantime, Tara's family and friends continue to wait.
Is she gone? Is she dead? When you just don't know any answers, you don't have a way of controlling your emotions.
It's a horrible situation for anybody to have to go through. It's worse than death. Death is final. Someone vanishing, it's not final until you find them.
You see how hurt these people are at the loss or disappearance of their loved one, and you want to put an end to that.
I've never experienced anything like that. I do have girls of my own. I just can't imagine what it would feel like if one of those were in a situation like Tara.
With Tara missing now for more than 5 years, her family is desperate for closure on their tragedy.
I just feel like her family deserves the truth. Anybody's family deserves to know the truth.
We wanted to believe and still believe that somebody out there has the information that we're looking for, and for whatever reason has just not found the courage to come forward with it.
We're at the point now where we used to pray that we wouldn't find her. Now we're afraid we won't, and we pray that we will, regardless of the circumstances, regardless of, what we find.